What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of our channel where we bring you the craziest and most insane true stories from all around the world. In this episode, we will be telling you the story of Mafia Boss Last Stand. This is a story that dates back to 2004 when Bernardo Provenzano was finally captured after being on the run for almost a decade. This is a story filled with action, suspense, and a lot of gunfire. So make sure to stay with us till the end to find out what happened to the Mafia boss and how he met his demise. The year was 2004, and law enforcement officials in Italy were hot on the trail of one of the most wanted men in the country, Bernardo Provenzano, also known as the Swine. He had been on the run for almost 10 years since 1993 when he escaped from prison. For a decade, he had evaded the police and was believed to be hiding somewhere in the southern Italian region of Corrada. The police had received a tip-off that he was planning to flee to South America, and they were determined to catch him. On June 10, 2004, two carabinieri, an elite unit of the Italian military police, spotted a man matching Provenzano's description in a small town near Corrado. They followed him and his companion, who was later identified as his wife Antonella Bonamo. As the cars moved through the hilly terrain, the chase continued. Suddenly, the driver of the car carrying the suspected mafiosi slammed on the brakes, jumped out, and opened fire on the police. The carabinieri returned fire, and the chase came to an end with both the suspect's car and the police vehicle riddled with bullets. But the drama was far from over. When the dust settled, it was clear that the driver had managed to escape, but not before sustaining multiple gunshot wounds. He was later identified as Bernardo Provenzano's nephew. On the other hand, the mafiosi boss and his wife remained inside the car. The carabinieri approached the vehicle cautiously, only to be met with a scene that left them shocked. Both Provenzano and his wife had taken their own lives by using a gun and a knife respectively. The news of Provenzano's death spread like wildfire, and people from all walks of life celebrated. For ordinary citizens, it was a moment of relief, knowing that one of the most ruthless criminals in Italy was no longer a threat to their safety. But for law enforcement officials, it was a day of mixed emotions. While they had succeeded in capturing Provenzano, the manner of his death raised questions about the level of brutality and ruthlessness of the mafia. As the investigation into the shootout continued, it became clear that Provenzano had been involved in some of the most heinous crimes in Italy's recent history. He had been a key player in the mafia's drug trafficking operations, and had also been involved in several murders and bombings. His arrest was seen as a major victory for the authorities, but it also put him in a dangerous position. The Italian mafia is known for its code of silence and its willingness to use extreme measures to protect its own. When a member of the mafia is arrested, there is always the fear that he or she may turn state witness and provide information that could lead to the prosecution of other members. In order to prevent this, the mafia has a tradition of killing arrested members if they are deemed to have betrayed the organization. This practice is known as the omerta. In the case of Bernardo Provenzano, it was clear that he was not going to cooperate with the police. He had been a high-ranking member of the mafia for many years, and had access to some of the most sensitive information. If he were to turn state witness, it could potentially bring down the entire organization. Therefore, it was not surprising that the mafia had put a hit on him. The question is, who is behind the hit? The Italian mafia is a highly secretive organization, and its members are known to go to great lengths to protect their identities. However, the investigation revealed that the hit on Provenzano was ordered by none other than his former associate, Matteo Messina Denaro. Matteo Messina Denaro is another notorious mafia boss who was at the height of his power when Provenzano was arrested. He was the head of the Sicilian Mafia Commission, which is the highest decision-making body in the organization. Messina Denaro was furious when Provenzano was arrested because he felt that it was a betrayal of their shared criminal enterprise. He ordered a hit on Provenzano in order to send a message to other members of the mafia. If they ever found themselves in a similar situation, they would be next. The execution of Provenzano was a bold move by the mafia. It showed that they were not afraid to take drastic measures to protect their own. It also sent a clear message to law enforcement officials that they should not expect any cooperation from the mafia. However, the mafia's reign of terror was coming to an end. With the capture of Provenzano and the subsequent arrest of Messina Denaro, the organization was dealt a major blow. Today, the Italian mafia is not as powerful as it once was, but it still remains a threat to society. So how did the final battle between the mafia boss and the police unfold? The shootout between Bernardo Provenzano and the Carabiniers was nothing short of a war zone. When the police first approached the car, they had no idea what to expect. They knew that Provenzano was a dangerous man, but they were not prepared for the level of firepower that he and his nephew unleashed on them. The Carabinieri returned fire, and the exchange of bullets continued until the driver of the getaway car lost control and crashed into a ditch. As the smoke cleared, the police were able to apprehend the driver, who turned out to be Provenzano's nephew. He was later charged with several crimes, including attempted murder and possession of illegal weapons. Meanwhile, the drama in the main car was far from over. When the Carabinieri approached the vehicle, they found Provenzano and his wife dead. The couple had taken their own lives rather than face the prospect of imprisonment. Sight of the dead couple was a shock to the police. They had expected resistance, but they were not prepared for such a dramatic turn of events. In the end, the shootout resulted in 3 deaths, including that of a 24-year-old Carabinieri. It was one of the most intense firefights that had taken place in Italy in recent times. The incident raised questions about the level of firepower that the mafia had at its disposal. It also highlighted the danger that these criminals posed to law enforcement officials. The death of Bernardo Provenzano marked the end of an era in the Italian mafia. He was one of the last of the old school mafiosi, who had built their power through violence and intimidation. His death, along with the arrest of other top mafia bosses, has led to a decline in the organization's power. However, the mafia is still active in some parts of Italy and Europe, and it continues to pose a threat to society. Despite the efforts of law enforcement officials, the mafia's code of silence and its ability to operate in the shadows continue to make it a formidable criminal organization. The story of Bernardo Provenzano's Last Stand is a reminder of the brutality and ruthlessness of the mafia. It is a testament to the lengths that these criminals are willing to go to protect their way of life. But it is also a reminder of the courage and dedication of the law enforcement officials who put their lives on the line every day to bring criminals to justice. Did you find this video interesting? Tell us in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss out on any of our amazing videos. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.